welcome back, and thank you guys again for tuning in for this Crosstrek build series. We have loved seeing the engagement on the videos, so super excited to finish off with this fourth and final video here. So first off, a massive thank you to Vision X Lighting. They're actually just down the road a couple of miles. So again, huge thank you to them. This would not be possible without their help and support. So I'll go ahead and have Nick tag their link down in the description for this light bar if you're interested in taking a look at it. So this is going to be the Unite modular light bar system from Vision X Lighting. So we're going to be running 3 floodlights on the outer portion of the bar, so 6 total. Those are going to be the yellow, and then in the center we're going to run 9 white spotlights. The floodlights are just going to be able to give us a broader coverage of total light from the entire bar, with having that main coverage from the spots in the middle.
They also have different shape bars and lengths, right? Because I know you can get a flat bar or a curved bar. We went the curved bar.
Correct, and so that's, again, that's the beauty of being able to spec it out. There's the, I want to say it starts as small as a 20-inch bar up to a 50-inch bar, and just like Nick said, you can either do the curved or straight, depending on what look you want to go for. I mean, it's just an absolutely awesome system. I've been dying to get it on the car, so very excited to get to installing to this today.
So before we do the light bar, we got to put the rack together, and they recommend putting the rack together itself off the car. So we're going to go ahead and put together this front runner rack system, get this put together, mount the light bar to it, and then we'll pull the Crosstrek inside and actually get it on the car. Sound good?
Sounds like a plan.
All right, time lapse time. All right, so we've got the rack mostly put together. Just a quick rundown of what we did. Put 7 of the 8 bars in. We leave 1 off the front here. I'm assuming that's to make sure you can mount it up to the roof easier. So we're gonna go ahead and pull the Crosstrek in and start dealing with the dreaded headliner, right, Lou?
We're gonna see what it takes to get down, but supposedly it's supposed to be pretty simple, but you know how it goes with cars. Nothing ever comes easy.
Nothing ever comes easy. So we're gonna get the car in and try to start working on getting this mounted. So we start putting the light bar and everything else in. And we've got a couple tricks up our sleeves to show you how to do this a little better than we think it says in the instructions, right? All right, so car's in the garage. Now we gotta start doing all the removal of the pieces to get the headliner down, which begins with the sun visor. So sun visor, grab handle up there, grab handle back there, and then the trim piece up above back here. And what we're gonna try to do is get the headliner just to hang down on the sides so we can remove the rack and put the new rack on. So once we have it loose from the inside, we're gonna go ahead and just remove this factory rail, and the front runner rack mounts in the same locations. And one of the perks of this rack is that we don't actually have to drill larger holes in the roof. And that was a huge selling point, just because who wants to drill bigger holes in their roof? So this will go in the factory location, and we've got a few tricks up our sleeve, like I said, to seal that a little bit differently than how a lot of other people have done it and how they recommended the instructions that we think will work a little better. The car looks like it was in a rollover accident, but we are close to being able to get the stock rack or the factory rack out. We've taken out everything that holds the headliner in along the sides, and now it's just a matter of figuring out if we can get the wrench up in there or the socket up in there to remove those factory rails and not have to take this down any further. All right, it was a goddamn battle. We had to pretty much take the headliner entirely out except for a few things holding it in up here, but these are loose and ready to go. Finally, how you feeling?
Ready to go after that battle with the headliner. That was a lot more than we thought it was gonna be. We thought we were gonna be removing the sun visors, the grab handles, and then the C-pillar in the back, and be sneaking our hands in, which worked for the first 2 sections, but then we got to the front and Crosstrek said, nah.
This is why 90 cars are the best, man.
Easier to work on.
All right, so this is where we're gonna take a deviation from the directions and give this the Avenged special. Lou, you wanna walk me through what we're doing here?
So with the roof rack, they've got these mounting plates that go on the inside of the car. So this is gonna sit on the top of the inside of your roof. And then we're gonna be bringing in, there'll be a spacer set between our screw and our roof rack they're gonna drop in. But it said to either apply your bead sealant or your butyl. And then
that was another thing too, is they were saying just put sealant like out of a tube on there. We had to do it.
That just is messy to me. And after
level.
doing my research online, we went with butyl tape. I've also got some rubber gaskets for the up top instead of doing butyl, the sealant and just making it all messy. I don't like that gasket sealer, so we're gonna go with this. People had a lot of success with it. But what they were saying to do in the instruction is to just stick with whatever sealant you have here and stick this on the inside of your car and then drop your roof rack down. But Nick and I were like, how the hell are you gonna get that perfectly in line with the holes to know exactly where the screws are coming down the thread? That's just not precise enough for us, so.
Like you could get close, but it just seems easier to put the roof rack on first.
We're gonna drop the roof rack on first.
Put the bolt through.
Yep, put the bolt through and then tighten everything down, so.
So I guess we gotta put the butyl tape in all these holes up here. So we're gonna do the same thing. Lay that tape in the channel here with, I think, a rubber washer on top between the butyl tape and the spacer that goes there. And then we're gonna go ahead and put this roof rack up there and see how this thing looks. All right, we got our system up here so you can see with the spacer on versus no spacer, but we've got the butyl and then the washer stacked on top. We'll put the spacers on like that, and then once we have all the spacers in place, we'll put the bolts, these guys over here, put the bolts through, and Lewis and I are gonna lower that onto the car, and then we'll tighten everything in.
Okay, so roof rack is now 100% installed. However, me and Nick, when we threw the Vision X light bar up here, just to kind of test fit and see where we're at, fits perfectly. The only problem is right now, there's 2 bolts on each side we can't get to. That's the lower mounting bolt here that we can change the angle with, we cannot get access to, as well as the bolt that keeps the bracket mounted to the rack itself. So our next step here is we're gonna go ahead and remove the wind fairing, lock our light bar into place, both angle and the width of it. As you can see, we don't have that much play with the width, but we're just gonna get centered within the couple millimeters that we have. And then we're gonna go ahead and start getting the actual light pods thrown up on here and start wiring that up.
So because nothing is ever simple with cars, ever, we're gonna have to do a little modification to this bracket up here. So this is the bracket that mounts the fairing onto the rack, and the bolt for the light bar, because Lewis had to get the big thick boy light bar, which who can blame him? You want the most light. The bolt sits right here. So we're gonna notch there and there following those tape lines, and then put some black paint on it, and it'll be good as new, just a little modification. Little finesse work. Got that cut down with the cutoff wheel. I'm pretty impressed.
Shave the edges, look pretty nice. And
so we're gonna throw some paint on there, obviously, but fits up there perfectly. You guys will see.
Nobody's ever gonna be looking up there, so.
And if they do, we're back. It's the next day. We wrapped up getting the interior put back in the car last night, got the light bar officially mounted to the rack. I'll show you guys the modification we did to make that work. But the last thing we need to do is get these Unite light pods all mounted up onto the light bar and run the power for it. Let me show you that modification we made real quick. Nothing too crazy. Basically, we just furthered the cut along here to make clearance for that bolt. So there just wasn't enough room. This metal bracket kind of came out further here, and we just had to do a little clearancing with the cutoff wheel. So got that cut, put some black paint on the edges so it doesn't rust, and you'll never know. But here's the final result of the light bar. This is the, what did you say, the 40-inch light bar? So this is the 40-inch Unite light bar. Now we're gonna go ahead and get all the light pods on, and they just clamp onto the back there. You tighten the screw in, and they've got a really unique little system to connect all the light pods to each other so they all power on at the same time. So we got our nice little stack of Unite light pods over here. Big shout out to VisionX, once again, helping out big time with this build. Luce, you wanna show them what that light pod looks like and how we're gonna get these put together?
So, got a nice little front here, but this is where the back gets pretty fun. So we got these H plugs here. They're gonna connect all the lights like Nick was saying. That way they're all firing on at the same time. And then we'll just secure the actual light pod itself to the bar. And we're just gonna get that dialed in to center on the bar.
So if you've put together a light bar before and you saw us putting the light bar on the car without the pods on it and said, those guys don't know what the hell they're doing, you would be correct. So these are the little nut piece that goes on the back of the light pod through the bar to hold it on. And what we have found is that it probably makes the most sense to get these started on the lights and then slide all the lights onto the light bar while it's off the car. So we're gonna remove that and do that. All right, light bar is off the car and we've got all the pods ready to go. So I put one H pin on the same side of everything, and then as you can see, got the hardware started on there so we can slide it right onto the bar. So I'm gonna go ahead and slide all of these onto the bar, get them loosely in place, and then we can put it back up over there. That is a absolute stack. Oh my goodness. It's gonna be blinding people. So, as you can see, they fit together super nicely. Those H pins allow it to connect very easily, and we'll tighten these once we get them up on the car and ensure we have enough room actually between the rack. But we're gonna go ahead and throw this up there and get our first look at what it looks like with the light bar on the car. Light bar is officially on. Lou's tightening down the pods up there, but that looks so sick. We did end up taking out one of the white spots in the center because we needed a little bit of extra room on both sides, and I think it just fits a little bit better. You've got a slight bit of space there between the fairing and the light on the end, and I think it looks much better. So we ended up with 8 spots in the center and a total of 6 floods, 3 on each side. We're gonna do the wiring tomorrow because it is getting kind of late, but we loosely hooked it up to the battery just so you guys could see, well, so we could see really, but if we eat, you eat. Check this out. Boom. These Johnnies are so bright. It's absolutely insane. You pretty stoked?
I am very stoked. Just excited to get all these light pods tightened.
I love how it looks. I'm gonna step back and give you a look at the whole rig here. With the light bar on and everything. Light bar, fender flares, wheels, this is all coming together so nicely. All right, we are back to get this thing wired up with snacks. So, should be pretty simple. We've got this wiring harness from VisionX, and really the most complicated piece is gonna be getting one, the switch wire through the firewall so that we can have a switch inside the car to power the lights on and off. And then 2, just getting it to run up here. So it's gonna run up the A-pillar. We've got a nice little sleeve that's gonna attach to the window. And that's the best way to do it without drilling a hole in your roof, and who wants to drill a hole in the roof? So we're just gonna have to figure out a way to get it to go through this cowl. Those are our 2 big obstacles. So VisionX does include a switch. It's this little red power switch here. Not bad. It's great that it comes with that. You know how we do around here. OEM plus, baby. So Lewis tracked down this OEM Subaru switch, which I believe is for fog lights usually. So fog light switch. This is gonna go in the dash and you're gonna look like a factory option. So while Lewis works on getting this harness through the firewall for the switch, I'm gonna work on getting this switch attached to this end here so it can all work together. found where the hood latch came into the car, and it goes in through this here. Took this off just to get a little bit more accessibility. But if you're doing this at home, what we did is hold the grommet that's holding the hood latch into that hole through the inside. That way we can tuck the plug to the switch through the grommet and feed it back out. So obviously I'll be tucked back up under the wheel well liner. Super tidy. Let me show you the car. So the switch wire is going to go down through there like that. We've got the main harness that goes up to the light, tucked through, running up along the fender liners, tucked behind this foam, and then it'll come out up here. And we've got a nice sleeve that we're going to put this wire in that's meant for these off-road style lights. The only thing we'll have to do is figure out drilling through this to put a grommet in it for this wire to run through. But we're going to go ahead and start tidying everything up so we can be one step closer to getting this thing buttoned up. But I am so hyped.
That's a big issue that we had. We were trying to go through the main firewall grommet there in the center by the master cylinder. We're not getting through there. So we're like, where the hell are we gonna go through this? So this is a major problem resolved for us. Big step forward, we're almost done now.
So the last piece to this puzzle is getting the wire to run up to the light bar cleanly. And what is it, KC Light?
I believe so.
KC Light, the aftermarket lighting automotive company, makes this nice strip, little channel that you can tuck the wire in. I can't get it apart right now. Oh yeah, there you go. You can tuck your wire in and it's meant for this specific application. And so we're gonna be able to run that all the way up there. And our plan is we're gonna go down through this piece here and Dremel or cut a little piece out so this rubber piece actually tucks down into it seamlessly. I don't want to say this is the cleanest light bar install out there, but this might be the cleanest light bar install out there. So like I said, we got this tube running up there with the harness inside of it. Super proud of this down here. Did some nice little Dremel work into the cowl so that rubber sits down in there seamlessly. You don't see the wire on that side at all. Runs up the windshield here. You'll notice it's completely outside the glass, so you don't see it from inside the car. Runs up here onto the roof until the wire gets tucked up into the rack. Super happy with how this turned out. So the last thing to do is just take this thing out and get some final shots of how everything turned out. But this is absolutely incredible. Super happy with how this turned out. Everything just came together so nicely. We're gonna be taking this car out to get some footage of it because we gotta show it off a little bit, but I just wanna say a huge thank you again to all the partners who made this possible. VisionX in particular helped us out getting this light bar setup that is absolutely incredible, super high quality. I'm so happy we went with that option. We're gonna take this car out and get some shots with it though.